All right, we have now arrived. We're in the platform. We've logged in. If you haven't logged into the platform before, it's a very powerful platform, very easy to get signed up. Encourage you to do that as a follow-up to this call. Right now, we're looking at the landing page here. You see I have multiple orgs. I have some apps without associated with orgs, and then I have a couple different orgs. So for the topic today, what we're going to get started on is user roles. So I'm going to jump into my demo environment here and quickly get an overview of the number of subscribed users I have within this app specifically. I also see the total growth numbers of users, as well as some basic metrics around users that are being revoked or unsubscribing. But as it relates to user roles, one of the more powerful features, especially when you are in a larger organization or if you're an agency and you're working on behalf of a client at a larger org, what you want to look at is making sure that people who have the rights to publish have those rights, and people who need the rights to view or pull reports can have view-only rights. And so with that, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go in to our settings. I'm going to go into our admin settings. And right here, what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at both the app admins and I'm looking at the organization admins or roles. Right here, there's two, view the organization admin as more the parent admin and the app admins as the child admins. Very easy to go into the organization. I can click in edit. I could see those at the org level. I could see those at the app level. I can also go in as an admin. I can update this role. I can look at as the role as a viewer. I could also switch that role to an admin. So read and write access. Admin has both read and write access. Viewer has read-only access. You can update that quickly. And of course, down in the app roles, you could remove, you can add different users. But the read-write access is controlled at the org level. You also notice within this app environment, you can also look at the both billing and different apps that are in your organization. And that is really just a basic overview on our user roles. Let's go into the exporting of data. So once again, we're going to go into the app. We're going to now look at how to export data out of the platform. This is one of our premium features. And I do have a chat, so I'm just going to take a look here. Video messaging, I'm looking at user unit, just like video messaging, etc. That's a good question. I mean, Mark, I'm going to reserve that for later today. Let's revisit that after the webinar in our Q&A section. Thank you. So now we're going to go to exporting data out of the system. Now, although we're in our UI and although we make a lot of data and functionality available through our APIs, ultimately, we can't always build out everything in the UI as fast as we'd like. And for that reason, we want to give users the ability to export data out of OneSignal and to be able to use Excel, CSV, BI tools, whichever platform they like to segment and do some deeper discovery within that data. That's what we want to make available to them. So in order to do that, we just go into our users within the app environment here. We look at view all users in the upper right-hand corner. We click on that. And right now we're into our full kind of user database. We can see channels they're subscribed to. We can see the last active session they've had. We also archive the first session when they first subscribed to the either web push or mobile app. You see the device they're on. Is it Android? Is it web push? Is it iOS? How many sessions they've totaled with your app or website, what country they're from, what version of the SDK, on and on and on. And just so we're all speaking the same language, as each user is subscribed to receive notifications, they are assigned a player ID. This is a OneSignal user device ID. If a user has multiple devices, they will receive a separate player ID for each device. This allows you to segment those messages by those different devices, whether you want to message on a laptop or Android or an iOS device. There is the concept here of external user ID. This is very powerful. Many of our clients have their own DMPs. They have their own user IDs that they use to aggregate the behaviors across all their marketing activities or website activities and commerce activities for their clients or users. This user ID is an external ID with our clients, and they can leverage that, and then they can associate that with one or multiple player IDs. Further over, you also see segments. Each user can be assigned a segment. These can be auto-categorized. We'll get into that a little bit later as we create a segment and as we start to create an automated message with those segments as well. So in this case, the most recent user who has subscribed is also active in the last 48 hours, is also active as an active user. So you can have many different segments, and you can also layer in many different user tags, which I'm scrolling over even further. And this gets into a bit more detail around, this is a loyalty level. This is a tag that highlights that this person enjoys finance content, tech content, sports content. Maybe this person has made a purchase within the last 6 months or a year, or they have a travel destination. If you're a booking engine and you are flying from Chile to Germany, and you're flying out of Munich, and Munich is your hometown, that could be where you can place a tag being Munich. And then, of course, you have the ability to add email and then the push tokens associated with those users. So lots and lots of great data here. In order to export that data, you simply hit the export button. You go over here to export user into a CSV list, and I've already done this for us today. It comes in roughly about, depending on the size, if you're talking millions of subscribers, it's going to take a little bit of time. If you're talking about hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of subscribers and users, it takes just a few seconds. And then when you get that export, it looks like this. Very similar to what we saw before. Are they subscribed? Last active, first session, last session, and so forth across. And then, of course, you can work with this data as you see fit. You also can notice whoops, sorry about that. I'm actually going to do a new share because I did change that to a Excel doc. So sorry about that. You should be seeing this today. Now you're seeing this as an Excel doc. This is the export. You can push this into your data warehouse. You can have this scheduled or sent over to a data warehouse on a nightly basis, as well as a daily basis or weekly basis, depending on how you like to archive your data, but also work with it within BI platforms. There's a number of partnerships with business intelligence platforms that we're working on, as well as we already support. So if you wanted to upload data into OneSignal, that feature is coming soon, and export data into other systems, that feature is already available. Any questions, place them in the chat. I'm just going to go back to the platform at this moment. And we'll go into segmenting our user base. Great. So now that we've exported data and we know how to permission our platform, so the right users have the right ability to message and draft notifications as well as send notifications. Now we're going to go back into creating our segment and segmentation as it relates to ultimately retaining, growing, and bringing back our most loyal subscribers. Got a question here. Just going to open up the chat once again. Looks like the sound is working. Want to make sure. Can you hear the sound? Sounds fine here from Mark. Okay. Thank you. Had me scared a little bit here. Good here from Rohit. Appreciate that, George. I am recording this. This will be with sound. But Lucas, just wanted to make sure if you might want to just check your computer settings. If you need to re-log in, you can certainly log in throughout the webinar, but this will be available with sound afterwards. Thank you for the support for all of the rest of you. All right, back to segmentation. So once again, we're going to go into our dashboard here. And we're going to go into our users once again. Very powerful segmentation engine here. You can create new segments by a number of variables. Once again, these variables also pair with the export that we just saw. So first session, last session, session count, duration. You can go down to device type. Is it web push? Is it mobile push? User tags. This is going to be powerful. We're going to revisit that. You could also do it by email, country. Most importantly, also test users. No matter what is reflected in a UI or through an API, always good to have a group of test users that you can send those notifications to in advance of sending it to your entire audience or to a very valuable segment of your audience. All right, so right now we're going to set up a segment. We're going to set up a segment based on a user tag. In this case, what I thought would be really helpful for us to visit is, that'd be interesting to look at an e-commerce example. So one of our clients, Rothy's, is in direct-to-consumer e-commerce shop. They make really high-quality shoes, primarily for women. And what they, the example I wanted to use today is you arrive at this site, you go through, you're doing some shopping, you find a pair of flats that you'd like. It is Mother's Day coming up, at least in the United States. I need to find my wife a new pair of flats. I'm going to select the flat. I'm going to select the color. I'm going to click this button. I'm going to click that button. I'm going to see that it's been added to my cart. I can either check out at that point or I can X out. And of course, I'm still giving this webinar, so don't really want to go through the whole process at this point. So I'm going to go back to my webinar. So we're going to go back to the webinar and we're going to go back into segments. Now I've created that action within my user behavior, and what Rothy's can do, and Rothy's being a client has done this, but what Rothy's can do is they can start to add data tags for every action I'm taking on their website. Now you want to be very careful on how many tags you aggregate. We don't limit these, but we generally give a guidance of no more than 100. But in this context, I can say, let's put a purchase, because I've purchased I've hit the button that is for purchase, and I've hit that button here, and I want to say time elapsed is greater than, let's say, 1,000 seconds, and that means that this is someone who has taken the action. They've hit the purchase, added a item to their cart, and what I'm looking for right here is I'm creating a abandoned cart example. One day. So I'm going to create that right now. I'm going to create this segment. I'm going to go look at all my segments. Abandoned cart example, one day. There it is. No one's subscribed to it. If I am on the website and I am subscribed and I do hit that button, I will be added to this segment automatically. That's very important. Now what we're going to do is we are going to, now that we've set up our segment, now what we want to do is we want to set up a template and an automated message. So what we want to do here, I do see some chats are coming in. Perfect, perfect, thank you. Working for me, Chrome ideas, great, great. So what we want to do now is we want to go into messages and we want to set up a template. We go into our templates, lots of different templates you can create. We want to create a new push template. Template name, abandoned cart, day one, example. In here, you left, very similar to when you're drafting a push notification within the UI, very similar UI here. You left an item in your cart. Use emojis. Emojis we find can get a click-through rate of anywhere from 2 to 4 times engagement rate. If you're using emojis, I would certainly leverage our A/B testing or just leverage your own testing to see if that increases your engagement or click-through rates. You left on my cart. Click here to reclaim your item and check out. Boom, really quick, Very easy to do here. Certainly, you can also look at, if I certainly have a lot of English speakers within this segment, 401, although we also have a number of other native speakers, and these are really just what the device dictates us, gives us back in terms of their preferred language. You can make that selection. We do not auto-translate. We don't find that the auto-translate options are suitable and accurate enough. We do encourage you to translate in, with native speakers. So right here we see, once again, you see a nice Android or iOS or just different click to reclaim your item checkout, as well as across the different platforms. Once again, you can go through here, very similar to draft in a message. You can place a launch URL. That launch URL can either go into a deep part of the app. It can also go into a, back to the cart if that user returns and the cart comes back. It's going to recognize you, and you'll be able to check out quick and make sure you're retaining those users. Getting a couple questions on this. So apart from making a tag, can we custom column the UI dashboard? Lots of customization options, especially within our API. So certainly can maybe speak to that a little bit more in our QA. Can we segment users on UI dashboard using custom tags? You can absolutely segment, leveraging our segmentation features. You can segment by custom tags. Those are called data tags. Those data tags can be collected by certain categories of where you are on a website, or different actions or data that you've uploaded into OneSignal that highlights the loyalty or maybe activity. Have they been 3 sessions in the last 24 hours? Have they had no sessions in the last month? Different messages to different segments. Certainly you can absolutely do that. Okay, so getting back to, we're setting up a message template. We've left item in your cart. We want to bring people back. We want to save this template. Now we have the example, abandoned cart day 1 template. Now we want to set up an automated message. So an automated message is really, really powerful. This allows you to engage and message and communicate with your subscribers without having any human interaction. So based on actions they're taking, we want to send them a message to bring them back, or to remind them to maybe also read new articles that are being published, or when new items are released, or when they've, in this case, left an item in their cart. So if we want to set up a new message, a new automated message, we're going to do abandoned cart template. We got to set the template. We're going to do the abandoned cart day 1 example, which we've already created. We're going to look at abandoned cart example 1 day segment. So once again, we're looking at the segment, we're looking at the template. We can always exclude users if we're sending to a very large audience, or maybe we want to exclude users that are in a different country because you're drafting a different message for them, or maybe that a certain style or a certain type of content is not available within that country. So instead of excluding or adding all countries but one, you can also just exclude one. Also getting some more chat, so I'm just going to try to handle these as they come in. Unfortunately, no English in Brazil. I do not speak Portuguese. I apologize for that, but we will have this available as a recording. All right, so now that we've set up our automated message, we know we want to bring people back that have placed some items in their cart. You can get very granular. You can even get granular down to what is the SKU number of the item that is in the cart. And when I send it back, I want to send a personalized message with the person's first name, because we know what their first name is because they are a subscriber and they've maybe purchased from us in the past. Lots of ways to customize this message. In this webinar, I'm just going over a really kind of highlighted view. So now that we're ready to kind of send the automated message, do we want to send it immediately when this criteria is met? Meaning there's an item in their cart, it's been more than 1,000 seconds, immediately send them this message. Or do we want to optimize for when they are on their computer or in the app, or when they're using their phone? That's when we call, this is the intelligent delivery feature, which is very popular as a way to optimize engagement rates. We see anywhere from 4 to 5 times engagement when using intelligent delivery. This is used for messages that are not time sensitive. If you have a sale that's expiring, this would not be a good example. But if you are announcing a flash sale, not a good example again. Great example when abandoned cart, or when you maybe want to optimize by time zone, if you want to deliver it by in the evening, the day of that they put an item in their cart. Very easy to do that. So all we do to finish up our template, we've selected our name, we've selected the template with the content that we've already drafted with the surprise emoji. We've also selected the user segment, which means these are actions that users are taking, and we want to message them with this very specific message based on their actions of placing an item in their cart within the last 100 seconds, which is within 20 minutes. We're going to create this right here. We're going to hit that button. It's going to create, oh, you must enter when to send the notification. Great call. Let's send this with intelligent delivery. We're going to create that. And there it is. Abandoned cart template right here. Do we want to edit it? Do we want to delete it? A lot of different ways we can work with that. There are best practices on our blog around best practices in abandoned cart. For more details around the abandoned cart workflow and code snippets, I'm going to follow up with links to our documentation covering both segmentation, as well as exporting data, as well as creating automated messages, as well as these templates for specifically abandoned cart. Another area that I wanted to cover today is around auto segmenting by subscription page. I will also follow up with this link as well. But in short, if you're a media company or you want to bring people back to us that are interested in a specific topic, as they're subscribed and as they spend time or as they go to specific pages, you can actually label them with custom tags that this person is a heavy consumer of finance content or fashion content or sports content. If you're a media related company, if you are a e-commerce company, if they are a male or a female and you want to segment your audience by gender, this is also a way that you can start to segment your audience, that this person shops for female related items or male related items, or shoes versus tops, and or any variable that you'd like to archive or add data tags against user behavior. So once again, I'm going to also send this tagging them based on page. You can tag them based on the topic of the page and the subtopic. Here's code snippets down below here. Very thorough documentation. If you have any questions on this, you can also email us at support@onesignal.com. That goes directly into our support team. And we're pretty good about getting back to you. We do prioritize those clients that are paid or that do have a upgraded subscription with us, but we are very quick with all of our community members.